The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined as always by head writer and podcast host Kevin Price. Kevin, how you doing today, buddy?
Good, Sean. Voice is kind of a little bit hoarse, so hopefully you can bear with me, and so can everybody else. But it's good to be here talking high school sports with you again, as we're kind of in that crossover season, winter sports and spring sports starting to mix for sure.
Exactly. Well, the Super Bowl's over. We got to see a good game this past Sunday. So now we're moving into high school baseball. As a matter of fact, you and Coach Conley did a game before the Super Bowl last Thursday. And if anybody heard that broadcast, they know exactly where your voice is. It's kind of left. It was kind of left back there last week, but it is coming back. So I'm glad you're feeling better. But so Gator baseball is underway. Gators got a couple games in the books now. As a matter of fact, playing right now as you watch this down in Charlton County. You got a big game coming up Saturday, but it's good to get things underway. You guys, Kevin, had a classic over at Glenn Academy Stadium or Glenn Academy's field, the Wayno there last Thursday night, where Ware jumped out to a big 4-0 lead over Glenn Academy, but Glenn Academy come battling back and took that game 8-5. But talk a little bit about that contest and what you saw. You were right there live on the broadcast.
Well, first of all, a lot of crooked numbers were going up on that scoreboard early, and I didn't know what time Coach Conley went to bed. And he said, "Don't worry about me. I'm retired." So I was like, "Yes, sir. Just keep on talking." But, yeah, it kind of settled in after some early runs by both teams. The pitching kind of took over there a little bit. But, just real simply put, comparing both of those teams, I think they got the ability to put up some crooked numbers. I think they got some big bats, certainly, in the middle of both of those batting lineups. And, again, I know Coach Conley talked about it, with y'all's game with Glenn both nights. Some of those Ware pitchers look like athletes. They all look the same. And until y'all get down their jersey numbers and what kind of mannerisms and whatnot they have, you might call one of them one name and it's actually somebody else. But that's a good thing, actually. But, Glenn's, that's going to kind of be the key for them, too, is pitching. They've certainly got the number of arms, but I don't know that they have the shutdown guy that they've had in recent years. But hopefully here early in the season, somebody's going to emerge as that guy. I think they got a couple of good candidates to be that guy. So there again, they could have 2 or 3 good starting pitchers when we roll around to region play. But I think both of those clubs certainly have a good chance to have an outstanding spring.
Yeah, from what that, and then they had another epic battle on Monday night where Ware was able to get a 6-5 lead or 6-5 win there, and another just a great high school baseball game. And like you said, Ken, I think both of these teams are destined for postseason for sure. And who knows, both of these teams could be looking at making deep runs, in the state playoffs. I think they're both really good. But listen, we're going to have Gator baseball all season long. We're going to bring you every game. You can check out what our schedule is on 912sports.net on the broadcast page. Like I said, Ware has got a game coming up this Saturday. We're playing tonight as you watch this. We got a game coming up this Saturday at home. It'll be the home opener. The game Monday night that Ware played against Glenn was supposed to be at home, but due to wet field conditions, they moved that game back to the Wayno. But it seemed to work out there with Ware. But Kevin, you guys are getting ready to kick off Golden Isles baseball this Saturday. Mountain View is going to come down to play in baseball at the beach and take on the Brunswick High Pirates. You guys got a strong 23-game schedule this year, featuring both Glenn and Brunswick baseball games. But looking forward to getting that kicked off this Saturday.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun doing baseball here in the Golden Isles. Started it off in 2020, and it got cut short by COVID, and that was a little bit of a bummer as the whole high school sports season got cut short there, basically in the middle of March, just as we were kind of rounding into the midseason form, if you will. But we've had a lot of fun the last few years, got to call some state baseball playoff series, went with Glenn to the Elite Eight 2 years ago, went back with them to the second round last year to Buford. And that was the first time I'd actually got an eye on the Buford Wolves, a perennial power here in the state. And so that was exciting. And, I think, again, Glenn's going to have a good club and going to bring some excitement to the forefront again. And looking forward to see what Brunswick might do this year. Coach Greg Roberts is in his 3rd year over there. He's obviously been a winner wherever else he's been. And they've got only 4 seniors on that club, Sean. And those 4 seniors, though, are a good backbone to that team because I think all but one will see significant time pitching. And then they also will, hopefully provide some offense for the Pirates as well. But from there, Brunswick's got a good young club, really a lot of freshman guys on this team. They're going to be baptism by fire, if you will. They're going to get introduced to the varsity level, and there's some talent in that bunch. So, with a young team, hopefully get some experience this year. Hopefully, first of all, they'll have a winning season. I do think they've got a shot at the playoffs if things can come together, particularly if that pitching can lead them to some wins in region. But it's going to be tough. This region is going to be tough. Again, those Augusta schools that are coming into the region are no slouch. All of them have been playoff teams in the past, and they're going to provide good baseball and good competition as well. So looking forward to seeing those teams as we do Golden Isles baseball as well. But should be another great spring of baseball here all over Southeast Georgia, really.
Exactly. And Kevin, you're exactly right about that region. I think it's Region 2, 6A, but the number 4 seed in that region when they go to the playoffs is going to be battle tested and are going to be a tough out for whatever whatever other region they match up there in the first round. It's that's going to be one of those 4 seeds that you probably don't want to play as a 1.
Yeah, no, because over here, Glenn might be the leader, if you will. Finished a game out of winning the region championship the last couple of years. Actually had the same record as Richmond Hill last year, but Richmond Hill beat them 2 out of 3. I think Glenn actually cost themselves in that series, but I won't get into that. That's just my own personal opinion. But anyway, when you look at Effingham and South Effingham, they're both back as playoff teams last year, finishing 3rd and 4th. And, of course, both of those teams have been state ranked in recent years as well. The year that Glenn went to the quarterfinals, so did South Effingham 2 years ago. But then when you look at Evans, they went all the way to the quarterfinals last year, I believe it was, and lost to Pope, which went on to win the state championship. Right. And then Lakeside Evans finished 2nd in that same region. I think made it to the 2nd round and lost by 1 run in game 3. And then Grovetown finished, I believe, 4th in that region last year, or maybe they were 3rd. But anyway, also a playoff team out of that region. And they came down here 2 years ago to play Glenn in a best-of-3 series in the first round when Glenn made that run to the Elite Eight. So some good baseball teams came into the region, although we lost Statesboro and Richmond Hill and Bradwell.
Exactly. Well, like I said, I think you basically, when you do the math, you got 6 playoff teams, fighting for 4 spots there in that region. So it's going to be something to watch closely there. But check out Golden Isles Baseball, first broadcast for the 23 season this Saturday as Mountain View comes down to play at Baseball on the Beach to take on the Pirates. So, but you can catch all that at 912sports.net.
And Sean, real quick, just a side note to that game, Mountain View is coached by a former BHS assistant, Jason Johnson. He's an Auburn guy. I think he played baseball at Auburn, pitcher for them. He was Brunswick's pitching coach in addition to being an assistant coach. But he's had a good club up there at Mountain View in recent years. So baseball at the Beach is Metro Atlanta teams historically against Southeast Georgia teams, most notably Brunswick and Glenn. But should be some good baseball down here in the Golden Isles. And they also use the old ballpark, Edo Miller Park. And Coach Roberts told me in the interview we did here with him a couple of weeks ago, but some of the coaches that have been to this tournament in the past, even though the Wayno's great and Bud Couch Field is great on the BHS campus, they want to play at the old historic park, Edo Miller. So that's kind of cool.
Exactly. Hey, history draws people. There's no doubt about that for sure. But, well, Kevin, let's move along. This Friday night, we're going to be broadcasting some more of Golden Isles basketball. It's playoff season for basketball. The girls' basketball tournament is going to be there in Brunswick, so we're going to be bringing you a doubleheader on Golden Isles basketball. Be a doubleheader with Glenn and Brunswick playing there Friday night. But talk a little bit about that broadcast coming up there Friday night.
Well, we've had another good year of Golden Isles basketball, and it's down to Fabulous February now is what I call it. It's the high school version of March Madness, and it's going to get started up with the state tournaments next week. But everybody should be in their region tournaments across the state in all classifications this week. And Brunswick girls, Sean, as you know, have been the team to beat in Region 2 6A all year. It was their region to win, and here they are in the championship game on their home floor Friday night with a chance to do it again, just like last year. And they were heavy favorites in this region, Sean. They knew it the whole season, just had to go out and get the job done. And really for them, they've been talking about big picture all year long, taking care of things game by game and week by week. But the focus has been at the end, and that's postseason. And obviously they went to the Elite Eight last year, got beat by Rockdale County. Rockdale County, one of the few teams that's beaten Brunswick this year. That was way back in a classic thing to start the season. So I think Brunswick has improved since then. Now, to be honest with you, Sean, I'm not sure that Brunswick is as good right now as they were at this time a year ago. Yeah, now, they're still good, don't get me wrong, but I think they were clicking a little better than I've seen them, this year. Now, they still got time to kick it up a notch, and I fully expect that they may do that, and we'll just see how far they can go. Now, this Glenn Academy team, Sean, they have improved tremendously from the start of the season, and game by game and week by week, as we follow them throughout the season, not just myself, but Coach Moore, Dan Moore, who does the games with me, has been impressed by the progress of this team. Matter of fact, the last game we did with them in the regular season, I guess that was maybe against South Effingham, and that was the number 2 seed coming into the region tournament. Gave them everything they wanted. Now, Glenn was at home, but they gave them everything they wanted. And we both said, if they can play like this, they can give everybody in the region a game, and maybe even Brunswick. And certainly they went up and won a game earlier this week at Lakeside Evans. That was the money game for them to get into the Final Four in region and to assure themselves of a state playoff berth. So really, whatever happens with this Glenn Academy team, Sean, from here on out, I would like to see them win tonight in this consolation game. But you can play with house money if you will, but this is going to be a great experience in the postseason for a young club who's got a chance to really build something going forward.
Exactly. Well, it's going to be exciting. Tune in Friday night there, 6 and 7:30, I believe, is going to be those games, and we'll have it all for you right there on 912sports.net. But, Kevin, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk a little wrestling, come back and talk about a new football coach hired here in the 912. But we'll be right back after these messages on air with 912 Sports.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos Español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome back, sports fans. I'm Sean Smoke, joined by Kevin Price, and you're watching On Air with 912 Sports. And Kevin, big weekend for wrestling. We talked a little bit a couple weeks ago about the big duels tournament. Camden winning their 10th in a row, I believe it was, and some astronomical number like that. But so congratulations to those guys. But this weekend in Macon at the Macon Coliseum, Kevin, Thursday the 16th, which is tonight, Friday the 17th, and Saturday the 18th, the traditional tournament will be going on where individuals will be wrestling for state titles. And of course, we're just, loaded with wrestling talent here in the 912. I know Brunswick Glen sending a big crew. I think we're sending a few, Charlton, Appleton, Toombs County, and of course Camden. They may be sending their whole team. I'm not sure, but
even the team managers qualified for the state.
Maybe the water girl, maybe the water boy, and the managers are going to be wrestling as well. But like I said, so a big weekend there for wrestling at Macon.
Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about it, but just real quick, if somebody doesn't know how wrestling works, they have the duels portion of the season where it's team against team, and basically like any other sport, the team with the most points wins. That's a simple thing there. In traditional wrestling, you can still wrestle for your team, and your team can get points, but every man is for himself, really, in their own weight class, competing for individual state titles at their weight class by pounds, of course, all the way from the smallest guy to the big heavyweight. And if you place in state and whatnot, you get points toward your team, so a team can still win the traditional title, and Camden is going to have a chance to do that in 7A. But Sean, I know the GHSA takes a lot of flack. We give them some grief from time to time, but I tell you what, this wrestling championship in Macon, even though I have actually never been to it, I've seen it on TV. It's probably one of the biggest things they do, and it takes a lot of moving parts. I mean, you got a lot of wrestlers from a lot of teams in 7 different classifications in the state, all these weight classes, and it takes a lot to get down just to the final 2 in all of these classifications. So it's a big tournament, a big deal taking place there in Macon, and obviously the GHSA has been doing it for years there, and it's a really good deal. A lot of excitement going to be in the air in the Centerplex, and a lot of our Southeast Georgia guys hopefully are going to be creating some excitement. You mentioned some of the schools is going to be sending guys. We'll look for Camden to do well again, probably have some state champions. I know Glen Academy is having a great season, 4th in state duels. I think they're going to send 8, including one of their female wrestlers. Brunswick's going to send 6. I think they've got a shot at least maybe 1 state championship, if not more, individually. So, again, we've talked about it. Southeast Georgia alive and well in wrestling.
Yeah, like I said, we've got 2-time state champion at Ware County in the girls wrestling. She'll be going back, I think, for her senior season. Who knows? She could be a 3-time state champ. But like I said, individuals coming from all over the 912 that are going to be there and Macon this weekend. So if you want to, and I believe, Kevin, like you said, I believe this is on NHS FS or whatever. So you can watch it on, on streaming. So check that out. You can go to ghsa.net and get all that information if you do want to watch it, on the stream there. But Kevin, some news broke this past week. Statesboro Blue Devils have hired a new head coach in Matt Dodson. And I mean, Kevin, we were talking about this when we talked about all the other coaches that had moved into place. One other guy that we want to talk about real quick as well is Liberty County did go back and hire Tony Glazer. Yep. So he's going to remain there as a head coach. We kind of talked about that one time where we were kind of shocked that they posted that job, because we thought Tony was the guy for the job. And then all of a sudden the job came open. But Liberty did the right thing and put him as took that interim tag off of him and put him as the permanent head coach there at Liberty. But again, we talked about the Statesboro because Kevin, this job was open 3-4 weeks before the season ever got over. And so Statesboro was very deliberate in taking their time and finding their right guy. And that guy is Matt Dodson.
Yeah. And, when you look at his resume, it sounds like it looks pretty impressive. I mean, number one, he knows that Bullitt County area. He played football for Georgia Southern, came there as a quarterback and ended up changing positions and became an all-conference defensive back there in the Sun Belt, I believe, for Georgia Southern. And when you look at it, his offensive background, he was a quarterback at North Florida Christian in Tallahassee, I believe. So he obviously came to Georgia Southern with an offensive background, switched to defense, and ended up having a good career there with Georgia Southern as a player. And then, they hired him from North Forsyth, and he was the offensive coordinator there. And I think they went to the second round of the state playoffs this past year, if I'm not mistaken, had a winning record. And his quarterback threw for over 2,000 yards, Sean. So could be another passing team there in Georgia Southern. There could be balls flying in the air on Friday night and again on Saturday in Paulson Stadium. But I'm looking forward to your interview with him and seeing what he has to say. And again, Statesboro's got a proud tradition in football. I think there's had to be some integral things that have been standing in the way there. I don't know exactly, honestly, what all those are. I can only speculate, asking you. But hopefully everybody can get on the same page, get moving in the right direction, because Statesboro needs to be good at football.
Exactly. And they're in a good region. I mean, they're in there with, Ware and Coffee and, some of those other teams there from that Region 1-5A. So they need to step up their game. And the Blue Devils feel like Matt Dobson's the guy for it. And we're going to talk to Matt after this quick break here. And you get to hear it right from the horse's mouth there. So Matt will let everybody know what his plans are for the Statesboro Blue Devils. So, again, looking forward to hearing what he has to say and talking about what his vision is for Blue Devil football. So, but hey, everybody stick around. We'll be right back here after these messages with that interview with Coach Matt Dobson of the Statesboro Blue Devils. You're watching On Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, joined now by the new head coach of the Statesboro Blue Devils, Coach Matthew Dobson. Coach, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on. Excited to talk with you today.
Hey, man, congratulations on being appointed there as the new head coach at Statesboro. And Coach Statesboro kind of took their time on this job. As a matter of fact, we've talked about it in several shows leading up to this. The announcement was made that Coach Kaiser was going to leave, I guess, with, several games remaining there in the season. And these guys, I guess, did their due diligence and got their man and going after you. So congratulations on taking that job. But Coach, let's go back. You're no stranger to Statesboro. You played college ball there, but before that, you played high school ball there in Tallahassee. And I guess let's go back to those days and what made you make that decision to come to Georgia Southern to play your college football.
Yeah, so I had a great career down at North Florida Christian, playing for first Tim Coakley and then Coach Robert Kraft. Won a couple state championships there. Had a really good career, and North Florida Christian is a school that's had a lot of success, and like I said, won a state championship as a freshman and a senior there, and so wanted to go somewhere to play college football that had a history of success, and Georgia Southern obviously fits that mold. I had some small, group of 5 schools that had offered me, and then had Georgia Southern and a couple other FCS schools at the time. And Georgia Southern was a place that I knew I could go in and compete for championships, which is what I wanted to do. And so was able to go there to Georgia Southern and do that. And so a great opportunity for me there and a great experience for those 4 years at Georgia Southern.
Right. Well, Coach, you came on campus as a quarterback, wound up playing a lot of your career as a defensive back. What led to that change, and how tough of a transition was that?
Yeah, well, so at North Florida Christian, I had played safety my first 2 years, and then moved to quarterback when our current quarterback graduated and played my last 2 years at quarterback. So went into Georgia Southern, kind of the opposite, played quarterback my freshman year, and there was just an opportunity to get on the field a little bit quicker. Jarek McKinnon was coming back my sophomore year, and was going to kind of be the starting quarterback. I had Izzy Ayute there as well, and so we had lost J.J. Wilcox and Darius Eubanks were our starting safeties my freshman year, and they were, gone on to NFL careers at that point. So it was an opportunity to step in and play right away, and that's what it's all about, is getting on the field and helping your team win. And so presented with that opportunity, I took advantage of it and made the move to safety. And, it was a great move for the team. Had a, successful 3-year run at starting at safety. And our team had a lot of success those 3 years. So a lot of fun there.
Right. Well, Coach, after your career at Georgia Southern, there you decided to go into the coaching ranks. Kind of fill us in on where your coaching ladder came from, and what you did, and what brought you to Statesboro now.
Yeah, so I went to straight out of college. Went to Cook County High School down in Adel, Georgia. Spent 2 years there, coaching with those guys down there, and had a good 2-year run. It was a fun time down there. As a new coach right out, first job, and coached receivers 1 year and DBs 1 year and special teams coordinator. So it was a good time down there. Met my wife down there in Adel. So great time down there. A lot of memories down there. And had a chance after that to go to North Forsyth High School, where my head coach from high school, Robert Kraft, was the head coach at North Forsyth. And so got a chance to go reunite with him and work for him. And coach quarterbacks my first year there, and then my next year get promoted to offensive coordinator. And so I've been there for 4 years as the offensive coordinator, working with Coach Kraft and an incredible staff up there at North Forsyth, and just a tremendous 5 years up there. I had 2 kids while we were up there. I got a 3-year-old and a 10-month-old, 2 boys, and just absolutely loved our time up there at North Forsyth. Great community, great administration, great people in that building, and so really enjoyed my time there. And then when this job came open, man, I'll be real honest with you, there's certain jobs you watch from a distance and you think, if I ever get the opportunity, that's a place I would love to be. And obviously the connections being here and when I was at Georgia Southern plays a role in that. But even outside of that, when you talk about premier programs in the state of Georgia, people who've won multiple state championships, that list gets pretty small. And Statesboro still has that name recognition and with so much tradition and history here, that when this job came open, it was one I was excited to put my name in the hat, and unfortunately it worked out for me.
Right, well, Coach. You're back in Statesboro. You're back in South Georgia. They play big time football. As a matter of fact, the team in your region, Ware County, won the state championship for 5A this past season. You got the likes of Coffee County, Jenkins. You guys, Brad Winston. I mean, some quality football being played in that region. You guys are part of there at Statesboro.
Yeah, it's very competitive football. I was talking with Coach Strickland last night at Ware County, and those guys do a tremendous job. And we were talking about that, the quality of football here. Coffee County is always good year in and year out. Coach Coe's doing a great job there, getting that program, taking over that program. Had a good first year and does a great job. And then you got Jenkins is loaded with talent. And so was talking with their coach last night as well, and he's really excited about the group they got coming back. So they're gonna be talented again. And then Bradwell and Greenbrier, I know they return quite a few guys, and so look for them to be much improved. And so yeah, competitive football, but it's what you want, right? You talk about
Exactly.
South Georgia football, and there's nothing better than football in South Georgia, and playing with these guys you grew up with. And so excited to be back, in this area and get to experience those Friday nights here.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I know you're in your first week of of the head coach's job there. Of course, your first job is probably to be putting together a staff. Where are you in putting together your staff? Have you made some final decisions, or how far along are you in that process?
Yeah, working through some things with that, trying to fit the puzzle pieces together. Certainly is the key there, and talk with a lot of guys. Talk with some potential guys. I think we got a few guys that are gonna come and just got to get it the formal process approved. But got a few guys coming from different parts of the state. Got so I think it's going to be a good staff. Trying to hire you know guys from different backgrounds, different ages, different experience levels. That there's different pieces that fit into a coaching staff. You don't want everybody to be exactly the same, and you want the different pieces. And so trying to do that and do our due diligence in that, and make sure we're getting the right guys. When I'm hiring a staff, I'm looking for good people first. I think good people with good character that are going to be great examples for our student athletes is what I'm looking for first, and the football part will certainly take care of itself. But trying to find those people that fit with what we're trying to build here is important.
Exactly. Well, Coach, from a philosophy standpoint, I know you're an offensive guy. You were an offensive coordinator, but talk a little bit about what you expect for the Blue Devils from an offensive standpoint, what you kind of expect from the Blue Devils from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, so offensively, we're going to be an up-tempo, no-huddle offense. Have the ability to play really, really fast when we want to. Can slow it down, but we want to be able to control the tempo of the game with what we do offensively. Like to play in a lot of different personnel groupings, play with tight ends and some fullbacks, and spread the ball around to a lot of different receivers and running backs, and try to get a lot of people involved offensively. But it's going to be up-tempo. Fast and a fun offense to play in for our kids. Then defensively, our big thing, we want to be aggressive. Want to be aggressive and not let the offense dictate what we're going to do defensively. Be the aggressor. Play defense with an offensive mindset of we're going to attack and we're going to dictate the terms of the game. And so trying to create negative plays. And then offensively and defensively, it's all about the ball. We're going to take care of the football offensively, and we're going to create turnovers defensively. The second part of our plan to win is we're going to control the running game, and so stop people from running the football. That goes in that aggressive mindset. Don't let people run the football on us, and we're going to run the football successfully. I think we're going to be balanced here, but when you get into November, December playoff football where we're trying to go, you got to be able to run the football a little bit. Then we're going to play great special teams here. Play our players there. It's the third aspect of the game, and if you don't take it seriously and don't practice it and don't execute there, it's a quick way to get beat. You can play great offense and great defense, but if you're poor on special teams, it's easy to get beat. So that's the philosophy we're going to have is we're going to be attacking mentality, and not play scared. Play aggressive and have fun doing it.
Right. Well, Coach, you got one of the premier quarterbacks in the state, and Cam McHale coming back for his senior season there for the Blue Devils. That had to make your decision to come there a little bit easier. But talk a little bit about, have you had a chance to meet some of the players? I'm sure you've seen McHale on film and that sort of thing. But how are you? How are you meeting? Or have you had a chance to meet with the kids?
Yeah, had a formal meeting with those guys on Friday after I got introduced as the head coach here. So met those guys as a whole group, and then have started to sit down and meet with some guys individually. Had lunch with some guys yesterday, and went and saw Cam and a couple other guys at the basketball game last night at Ware County. They played Jenkins in the region tournament and got a big win there. And so I've met Cam. What a great kid he is. So humble, so down to earth. What a tremendous football player, like you said. I mean, he's earned those offers that he has, and so yeah, he's going to be a focal point of our offense for sure, and defensively as well. And he's a guy you can build your football team around. Great leadership skills, and the kids really they respect him, and so we're excited about him for sure. And he definitely watched a lot of film on him and seen him out there. And so yeah, it's always good when you're coming into a new place to have a guy like Cam a part of it, because he's a piece you can build around.
Exactly. Well, Coach, we appreciate your time today. Welcome into the 912 family here, 912 Sports. We're going to be covering you guys, all year long, even in the off season. Maybe we'll catch up with you at some of these camps. But if there's anything we can do for you here at 912 Sports, just reach out and let us know. We'll be glad to help any way we can. But again, we're real happy that you're a part of the 912 family now, and look forward to some Statesboro football this fall.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. Excited to be here and excited about the future of the Blue Devil football program.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate it. That's Coach Matthew Dobson of the Statesboro Blue Devils, new head football coach there. But we'll be right back here with more On Air with 912 Sports right after these messages.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin Price for On Air with 912 Sports. It's my pleasure on behalf of Sean Smoke and the whole 912 Sports team to introduce Kevin Thomas, the newest member of our staff here at 912 Sports. Kevin comes to us after working for more than 20 years in media here in Southeast Georgia, so he knows the Southeast Georgia landscape. He brings a lot of experience to the table in journalism and broadcasting, and we're excited about what he can help us do as we ourselves look to grow and expand our horizons here in the 912. I sat down with Kevin recently for an interview, just as an introductory interview to him, to all of you out there in Southeast Georgia. Some of you may know him already, but here's our interview with Kevin. All right, Kevin Price along with Kevin Thomas. Kevin and Kevin here, and Kevin, we're excited to bring you aboard the 912 Sports team. Obviously, you bring a wealth of experience to the table, and we're looking forward to working with you and you helping us expand and grow. But just so people can know you and meet you in case they don't already know you. Of course, you've been around Southeast Georgia for a while, but obviously you came to these parts to work with the local ESPN radio affiliate and have been here ever since. So really just kind of give us your background since being here, what you did at ESPN and so forth.
Yeah, I did sports radio, as you said, here in the Golden Isles for 22 years. Been around a little bit. I think it was my first play-by-play gig was actually a Glenn Academy game with Kwame Brown way back in 2000. So kind of Kwame Brown forward. I've been involved in a lot of stuff from Glenn and Brunswick and some of the great runs in football, basketball, some of the great teams that Chuck Fair and Jimmy Brown had at Glenn Academy and Brunswick High, respectively. And kind of excited about jumping back in with you guys and getting to do what my real passion is, which is doing play-by-play stuff and being involved in the game and watching it unfold right in front of you. So I'm excited about doing that, and looking forward to getting back into the swing of it.
Well, Kevin, just talk about high school sports in general in Southeast Georgia. We all know that football is big in these parts. We've certainly had some good teams throughout really the whole time that you've been here. But regardless of what sport it is, I mean, somebody in Southeast Georgia among the teams that we cover here just at 912 always does well. And of course, that's going to be involved in the spring as well. We've had some good baseball teams here in Southeast Georgia in recent years. And of course, you're going to help me cover Golden Isles baseball this year on the Brunswick High School broadcast. But just talk about your experience with sports here in Southeast Georgia and just how big you've seen high school sports be.
I mean, I think when just before my time, from Adam Wainwright to Kwame Brown, and I think those are the exceptions. I mean, and no matter what community you go to, there's going to be somebody that's gotten to that level. But I think just the overall talent level in this area has gotten really good. And you can say, well, it's specialization, it's this and that. But I think you've seen it over the last 20 years really grow, where more kids are getting college scholarships out of here, and not just for football, for basketball, for baseball, for track, for a lot of different stuff. And I think you're in a warm climate here up and down the South Georgia. There's a lot of places to get out and try your craft. It's never, hey, we got to go inside or we're not getting it done. And I think you've seen the dedication to student athletes and their craft go out there, and you've really seen the numbers grow. And let's face it, Georgia has become a state, and South Georgia's got a lot of athletes as well, but Georgia's become a state where you pick a sport, they're one of the top 3 putting players in everything. And college football, I think Georgia's now 3, if I'm not mistaken. It's moved up. College basketball, it's one of the hottest states to get college basketball talent. Baseball, I want to say the number one of the top 2 or 3 players taken in the draft last year was from the state of Georgia. And so you see a lot of talent go to the next level in baseball. So I think you see just a number of kids that are good, really good at what they do has grown exponentially, where you're seeing multiple guys. It used to be when I first started, okay, maybe there's one kid that goes and plays football somewhere. Well, now, if you don't have 4 or 5, you're kind of like disappointed. It's kind of become commonplace in all these programs that you're going to see at least 4, 5, 6, and it's not SEC, but they're all going off to play at the next level. And I think that, to me, is the journey I like going on with high school sports. Is everybody wants to see the kid go to Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, whatever, but the kid that goes to Georgia Southern or the kid that goes to D2 school, if they're getting money to go to school and they're playing and go to the next level, man, that's great. I enjoy seeing that because no matter what you say, well, he didn't go there, those opportunities are so finite at all those levels that if you play at the next level, I mean, you've done a heck of a job.
No question. And let's go back, I guess, to something you've already mentioned. One of the first times I met you, of course, was probably in a basketball gym, I guess, because you were doing play-by-play for ESPN Radio, one of your first assignments, and you came in right really in the Kwame Brown era. And, of course, Dan Moore, who is now doing Golden Isles basketball with me, was the coach of that team. But what are your memories of that time coming to Glenn County, a great time in high school basketball here with Kwame Brown leading the Red Tail?
Well, that was an amazing run, and anytime you follow a team, and you know this, you kind of get behind a team, and if they have that trajectory, as the season goes on, it becomes more and more, obviously fun to follow. But that was, like I said, I got here, and they're like, wait till you see this kid, Kwame Brown. I was like, all right. And so, over the years, you hear people say, oh, this kid is this and that. And you say, okay, you've heard all the, I caught a fish this big kind of stories, right, where it's like, oh, this kid's go. And so, but then to watch him play, and it was like, oh, he's, obviously was the real deal. And to get to see that up close throughout that season and go on that run is something that sticks with you. And I think it sticks with me because that was the first year I did it. And so it's like to fall into something like that.
You were like,
wow,
yeah. Into the great game.
Exactly. But you fall into something like that, and that just throughout media, you typically, when you first jump into it, you don't get onto something that big where it's like, hey, he's going to the McDonald's All-American game and this and that, and they were going to be on a state championship type trajectory. So, but that was fun to follow, certainly right out of the gate. And I remember just the thing that stood out. There's 2 things that kind of stand out. One was the run to the Final Four, where they ended up losing to Berkmar, and then I remember the region championship game against Savannah High, because I'd never done a game in Savannah. I'd seen them play Savannah High at Glenn, and somebody said, "Oh, it's going to be nuts."
Oh, yeah.
They're like, Savannah basketball is on another level, and I get in there, and there's literally people 1 foot right behind me going nuts. You know, Glenn and Brunswick, the whole place is packed. I think they had it at Armstrong, if I'm not mistaken, and that was just a whole nother wild scene. But I do remember being in that, and I was like, "This is high school basketball." It's like it's a packed arena, and people are going crazy. So that was to jump into it right off the bat like that was a lot of fun.
And of course, let's come full circle. One of your final assignments, I guess, there with ESPN was to cover the Benedictine cadets. You guys went with them to the state finals 2 years in a row. You got the bling to show for it as well, and it's nice of them to take care of you in that area as well. But talk about, again, following a state championship team, the Benedictine cadets, the last 2 years, and how fun that was to be an extension of that team.
Well, I mean, you try hard from my perspective. You try hard not to become a fan to do the game. You try to say, hey, I'm going to be objective here. But much when you do the same team every week, you can't help but fall into some of that because you see the kids and you talk about them every single week and you know their stories and you see how the team progresses. And you got to say the confidence that they had in themselves was something to watch, because I think this year I never thought they weren't going to the state championship. And that's odd, because normally in sports, I'm very much like, hey, people don't understand how hard it is to do something. We're going to the Super Bowl. We're going to win the SEC. And, for as much as Georgia's been on a roll, I don't think most people, maybe Georgia fans do because it took 40 years, but how hard that is, because they've made it look so easy especially this last season, where they just kind of steamrolled a lot of people. And to see a team like that where you go, oh, they're going to win it. I've never been around a team where I just said they're going to win it, and I felt like that team was going to do it, and it was a lot of fun. Of course, it came down to again, we came full circle. First assignment was Kwame Brown and Glenn Academy in that run. The last play-by-play I did was a 4-play stand on the goal line to win a state championship. Like, if I would have wrote a movie script and said, hey, they're going to stuff a team with a 250-pound running back from the 4 times and win the state championship, you're like, you're pushing the make-believe envelope a little too far, but it happened. And that was, a lot of fun to watch. And again, you look at a team and go, oh, they're a juggernaut. I think off of that team, they've got 6-7 kids going to college football programs, and maybe only one D1. So you could say they have great talent, but I think they have one major D1 signing on that team. Probably should have had another. You can get into a whole debate about transfer portal and how that's messed things up, but one D1 signing, high D1 signing off that team, and they won state championship.
Well, Kev, obviously, we're excited about having you, and we're looking to expand and grow, and we think with the experience that you have, you can help us do that. But I guess for a chance for you to maybe brag on 912 Sports if you want to.
Sure.
You've watched us from afar. We've had relationships with you, working with you at ESPN. What is it that you've liked about 912 Sports, and why did you say yes to our offer to join our team?
Well, again, it's what we've been talking about. I think the commitment to covering local kids. I think the ability to put a spotlight on local teams is there, and people just take for granted, oh, it's on the radio or it's on the online or whatever, and that's not always the case. And I think there's whether you're talking about basketball or what's coming up with baseball, those kids put on a show. I've been following this last couple weeks. Had one on 912 Sports last night, a 1-run ball game, Glenn and Ware. Great stuff, and I think those kids deserve to have their moment. Let folks tune in that can't come to the game. I think in today's age where you can access stuff from all over, you never know who's a former Pirate or a former Terror who lives in Mississippi is like, I played baseball at Glenn. I'm listening to see how it's going. So I think there's a chance to spotlight the players and follow their stories was attractive to me. And you guys have done a great job highlighting what's happening. And again, people will say, oh, well, it's not just football. You guys have done a great job spotlighting wrestling and women's basketball, all kinds of stuff that's happening right here in our backyard. And to me, in the age where everything is at your fingertips, the best thing you can be is localized and bring what's happening in your own community out there to the people to kind of absorb that. So I'm excited about that.
And Kev, obviously, your first assignment with us, I guess, is going to be doing baseball. And I know with ESPN on y'all's afternoon shows, y'all talked a lot of football, no question.
Right.
But one of your other favorite subjects was the Atlanta Braves. And of course, I guess it made sense too because y'all are the local affiliate for the Braves. So
Absolutely.
you talk about the Braves by day, they play by night, all kind of works hand in hand. But I don't know if you're necessarily a baseball guy, but I know you're kind of like me. You follow sports across the board, just depending on what season it is. But I know you coach your sons in travel ball as well. You don't have to say whether baseball is your favorite sport or not. I'm not necessarily asking you that, but what is it that you love about high school baseball, being that that's where we are and that's where you're going to start?
I will say I do like college football, and in football season, it is a lot of fun, but I always look forward to this time of year. With pitchers and catchers reporting, baseball starting, it is my favorite sport. And I will say this because it's very difficult. But I think baseball is one that carries a lot of memories for me because as a kid, hey, I watched the baseball games with my dad, baseball games with my granddad, and it was every night, kind of thing where we didn't sit around and watch, a sitcom a whole lot at our house if we watched baseball game. And it was, I distinctly remember at my granddad's house, and you'll probably appreciate this, but, Andy Griffith, baseball, every night, and so you go stay at my granddad's house in the summer, and it was like, we're gonna watch Andy Griffith. We're gonna watch the Braves game. So, but no, that is baseball is my favorite because I do believe it is probably the most difficult thing to do in sports. And people say, well, yeah, have you ever tried to block a guy coming off the edge? No, that is hard. But there's a guy throwing at the high level, 100 miles an hour with movement, and you got 60 feet to figure out what to do with it and hit it with a round bat. And oh, by the way, hit it somewhere where they aren't. And make a play. And I can't think of another sport where you fail 70% of the time and people will still tell you you're good. Shaquille O'Neal, if he made 30% of his free throws, nobody would say, hey man, you're a great free throw shooter. No, I appreciate the skill that comes into play. Do you have to run as much in baseball as you do as others? No, but there is, to me, a lot of thinking that takes place, a lot of strategy that takes place, and that's something if you just look at it from afar, maybe you don't appreciate. But you see these kids at the high school level, and man, the skill level they have, I think, is underappreciated by a lot of people. When you're in it and you coach kids and you start trying to teach them how to think about the game, and sometimes it moves too fast for them. And I think that's the part I love about baseball is you have to know. I tell my kids that I coach, baseball is the slowest game in the world until the ball's hit. And then you just have to know what you're doing in an instant. Yeah. And I think I appreciate that. And, watching guys kind of hone their craft, and even at the high school level, the amount of skill it takes to be good is incredible. And I really enjoy watching those kids go out there and do their thing.
Awesome. Well, Kev, thanks for sitting down with us today. Talking through things, introducing yourself to maybe somebody around the 912 who's not familiar with you. We've known each other for a long time, and I look forward to working with you here at 912 Sports and you being a great addition to our team. I knew that ESPN's loss could very well be our gain, so we certainly appreciate you saying yes, and look forward to working with you here in the near future and for a long time.
Absolutely. I'm excited to do it, and we'll have plenty of time to chat and shoot the breeze while we're out there at the baseball games. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Glenn's going to be very good, and I think Brunswick's got a young group that'll be excited to watch as they continue to develop throughout this season and throughout their careers.
All right, good stuff, Kev. We'll see you out at the ballpark.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.